Now, the rest of the story.
Well, I hit a little bit of a speed bump. I haven't touched the cultivator in almost 24 hours, and nothing's really changed other than I got the brackets almost entirely welded up for what I need them to do. I have the one weld here I got to touch up, or actually just straight out weld, and then this will be pretty well ready to go. I mean, I'm actually kind of impressed with myself. I don't do much of the fabricating stuff. This is awfully solid. But here's the thing. Who can look at this and see a problem? I mean, small problem, I'm not even worried about it. But we're gonna look at the location. What about this row? The thing is, these rows, they tend to follow the ground, and they flex up and down. I mean, that's the whole point of what they do. So what I may have worked myself into a small little corner, which isn't going to be an issue because I already found a workaround, is when this comes up, it's going to hit the bottom of the tank. There's two solutions I could do. Option A is I weld another piece of metal across down here, and then what I do is, or what will happen is when this comes up, it'll strike the bottom of the bracket and not come up and kiss the tank. Problem with that is then if it does need to flex up to follow the contour of the ground, because I'm not trying to do outright tillage with this thing. I mean, primarily it's for side dressing. I will tilt the top link back so the machine is tilting backwards, so the back tines do tend to dig a little bit more. Question: for those of you that have cultivated in the past, or even those of you that don't really have good or much of any opinion on cultivating, in drought conditions, would a guy cultivate or not? All right, I'm gonna have a slight pause here. I'm gonna give you my opinion. All right, my opinion is to go ahead and do it anyway, largely because if you go through and put the liquid down, the way I have this set up with these shovels in the back, they're bubbling the dirt, they're rolling the dirt over on top of the liquid I'm putting down, so it's not as apt to evaporate back into the atmosphere. My grandpa's example, which made sense when you really think about it, so we're kind of dry. We're dry. The rain we got really didn't do much as far as adding to the soil profile. I mean, it pretty much just got the plants wet and that's it. But what happens when the soil gets dry is that it cracks. And those cracks can also lead to even more evaporation from the soil because the air, the heat, is getting down further into the soil. Grandpa always said that you go through and cultivate, even on a drought year, it fills in those cracks, and it actually, backwards of what some people would think, that your tillage, I mean, you lose moisture every time you till the soil, but if the top soil is already dry, there's no moisture there. All you're really doing is you're protecting the soil, the moisture that's in the soil that's already there. So it made sense to do it regardless. I mean, I don't think we're looking at like a 2012 style drought and honestly a week of rain and all this dryness that we got will probably go away. But it's making good haymaking weather as long as we get 4 or 5 days of running. Dad's currently knocking stuff over right now. My problem is, and why I started to talk about this cultivator in the first place, is I'm trying to spray for volunteer corn. Got a little windy, so I quit. It's starting to, actually the trees really aren't doing a whole lot of moving. Went out across the field with the four-wheeler and I think I can get away with it. I got a couple, like on Big Patch, where I got like 100 rows till I get to the next actual corn strip or whatever. I'm probably just gonna go and maybe knock out some of that, so at least I can say I got something accomplished, because I'm having a little bit of, lack of fulfillment because I'm really not getting anything done so far. But what I'm thinking with setting up this sprayer, it's It's the reason is that I got a farm that grass grows into the first few rows of the field. All right, so it's been an issue ever since I've been running that place, and my cure was to put spray nozzles on the sprayer or on the cultivator. That wasn't my first cure. My original cure was to buy that sprayer that's in the back of the gator and then drive along the grass and spray into the cornfield. Problem is, some of the grass is it's kind of steep. I mean, where I'm actually going to have room to drive, I don't even have the room to do it. So what I'm thinking is, because the grass is already coming up, the corn is probably 2 weeks worth of growing away from me actually being able to go through and cultivate it, or be willing to go cultivate it, because I want to hold off as long as I can to put the liquid down. Because I've been going through the soybean stubble, or the soybeans, not the soybean stubble, with the sprayer, I have it set to spray 8 rows at a time. The nozzles are pointing down, so it's not like they're arcing the chemicals into the air, you know, born free kind of a thing. I'm kind of leaning towards getting that cleaned out again, because it'll knock out any corn that it hits with the chemicals that are in it right now. But get a different mix and actually run up and hit it with the gator now, and then maybe actually not have to worry about setting up the cultivator for spraying. If it doesn't work, or if the corn gets too tall, I guess we can revisit this. I mean, I'm not entirely done yet. I'm going to leave the brackets on here because I don't know if that 65-gallon tank will really work on this. I mean, I can actually, it's bolstered up enough. I think it'll be fine to support the weight. It's the tractor, the front end, and all that. I don't know if the tractor will even be able to lift it, but I am kind of flirting with the idea of even putting the tank on, plumbing it into the fertilizer line, and even only putting in half as much fertilizer in it. So I mean, another 30 gallons is another 30 gallons, but I guess we got to get there first. So as you guys, I don't know if you've picked up on that, but hay's in the ground. I don't know how many acres it is approximately, because I don't have the maps in front of me, and it really doesn't matter. It's hay's on the ground. It's drying. 80-degree weather days for the next, for the 10-day forecast. They're actually calling for 80-degree weather. Not much for rain, other than today is Monday. They're calling for rain Monday, Sunday, somewhere in there. So it's yet to be seen if we're going to cut any more tomorrow, or we're just going to go with what we get down today. Not really planning on tedding it. Just going to have it laid out flat. That stuff's been cut for 5 hours now, and you can definitely tell how much it's dried out already. So I'm perfectly fine with being able to get a bunch of dry hay made, put up, and actually sit on it for the rest of the year. What I'm actually going to head out and do is I'm going to clean out one of the sheds so we can actually get the hay stacked in it in a couple days here. So that's where I'm at with the cultivator, a whole lot of nowhere. Whenever I'm going to start cultivating, I don't really want to get too carried away with it just yet, because of the frost and the cold weather. The corn's kind of set back a little bit. I don't want to say it's stunted or anything, but it's just to the point where I'd rather have the corn, at least a foot tall, a lot taller than where it is right now, and then worry about cultivating, because that way I'm not worrying about the soil rolling over and flattening the corn. I like the corn to at least be healthy enough, far enough along that I can actually roll the soil up against the plant, and it does help with any grass or weeds or anything that is coming up at that point. So with that, thanks for watching, thanks for tuning in. Take care, take it easy, keep in touch. I'll talk to you guys later.